What? Hello, you lovelies, and welcome to This Week in Comics. We have a whole bunch of news to talk about. We've got two movies that landed potential writers this week. The Midnight Suns movie, which may or may not officially exist, and Booster Gold theoretically have their writers. We also have some awesome new Deadpool posters and confirmation that The Boys is a 5-season show. We're going to talk about all that here in a minute, but this is This Week in Comics. So I read 50 or so comics a week, so you don't have to, and then I break down my 9 favorites from the week. I try to specify ones that are very approachable, so if you've ever wanted to get into comics, these are some recommendations week to week that you might enjoy. Highly recommend just popping into your local comic shop and bringing this list. This is some stuff you might really dig. Indie stuff, Marvel stuff, DC stuff, and all I ask is hit that subscribe button. I want to grow this page. We recently passed 26K, which makes me so very proud. I want to keep growing this thing. Trying to hit 30K this summer. I think we can do it. Also hit that like so I know you like this video. Leave a comment below letting me know which of these comics interested you, which of these stories interested you, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to preview the comics that are available this Wednesday, today, June 12th at your local comic book shop. And then next week, I'll be back to review my favorite 9 of those very books, and on it goes. Without further ado, this is This Week in Comics.
Let's do the list. Spider-Man.
Guilty.
The Incredible Hulk.
Afraid so.
Oh man, this is so cool. The X-Men.
Now that you mention it.
All right, my first book this week is going to be Alien What If number 4. This is from Villanova on pencils and Adam F. Goldberg and Paul Reiser on words. Paul Reiser, being the man who played the character this book is about, writing the comic makes me so very happy. This is an ideal world where, to Paul Reiser's character, he survives the events of aliens, and this is what he would do, trying to weaponize and utilize the alien technology to bring his wife back. Now, this takes some twists and turns. There's a queen involved. It's a lot of fun, but I'm really just enjoying having these iconic Fox characters adapted so beautifully into not just a Marvel comic, but a what if. This series has been surprisingly amazing. Then we've got the biggest shock of the week. This is Amazing Spider-Man 51. If you guys have been following this for any length of time, I want to love this title. I collect Amazing Spider-Man. I've been buying, bagging, and boarding these, even not loving them. I want this to turn good, so at least this issue, it's a B, which is the best it's been for a while. So I hate to say it, this is kind of a consolation prize, but it does make the top 9 because it was a smaller week. Next up, we've got Lilo and Stitch number 4 from Greg Pak and Gio Camino. This book concludes this first little miniseries. Dynamite has been crushing it on their Disney adaptations. I don't know how the legal works with Dynamite making Disney comics when Disney owns Marvel, but it's working for them because this book is so family-friendly, so warm and fuzzy. It's only 4 issues for this miniseries, so if you have kids at home, especially if they love Lilo and Stitch, this book is amazing. It's about family, it's about the world of Lilo and Stitch, and it expands out from the movie. I'm not even the biggest Lilo and Stitch movie fan, but this comic really got me, and again, if you've got kids, it's a really great way to teach them lessons without having to just lecture them. There's lessons in these comics, and Lilo and Stitch is a really beautiful one. This one makes me so happy. Next up, we've got My Adventures with Superman number 1. This is the comic universe extension of the TV show on HBO. So if you loved X-Men 97, there's a comic for you. And if you love My Adventures with Superman, there's a comic for you. And this issue number 1, you never have had to read an issue of any comic in your life to understand. You don't even have to have watched the show. It certainly helps. But this takes place literally moments after season 1 of My Adventures with Superman ends. This is such a unique, fun Elseworld of Superman, and it's written so specifically. I can hear Jack Quaid's take on Superman through this character. So if you love the show, this is a must-read. If you love Superman but have never picked up a comic, this might be your gateway in. And if you've got a younger audience at home, if you've got, I'd say kids from 12 to even younger, 9 to 15, this is a really sweet book for them to check out. So check out this new take on My Adventures of Superman. Then we've got Poison Ivy number 23. This is from G. Willow Wilson and Haining on art. I love Willow Wilson's work, and this is no exception. This Poison Ivy run has been so smart, so gripping. It's like a thrill ride of a book where Poison Ivy, the villain in the Batman universe, is really someone trying to save the planet. So it's the morality, the ethics, the journey of going on that with her. And by the time you get to issue 23, we've kind of established a new arch nemesis for her by really diving into her origin. And this is a big climactic fight dealing with those ramifications. I love Solomon Grundy in this book. I love her relationship with Harley Quinn. This issue really establishes a lot of strength in their relationship, and it, again, takes some twists and turns. This has been a thrilling book from the jump, and I love that the action is just as important as the emotion and the dialogue. That's what comics can be. 23 is fantastic. And the Ultimate Universe carries on with Ultimates #1. Now, this is from Camp and Fragari, two creators I knew very little about. They're on that Rising Star list over at Marvel. I've never read a Camp book. I've never seen Fragari art, but I understand why they're on that list, because this book absolutely sings. I would highly recommend, and I will be checking out their future work. And this is such a cool take on Ultimates. So the Ultimate Universe is always a modern retelling of your, Avengers, your Spider-Man, your Black Panther, your X-Men, and that's the universe we've got so far in this new Ultimate Universe. And with Spider-Man, instead of being a 15-year-old kid, he's a 35-year-old man. With the Ultimates, instead of being government-sanctioned, they're more a global force that a lot of people see as terrorists. They are outside the law in a really unique way, and the events that made this universe possible put them in a position where they have to save people, but people don't look fondly on heroes. Really interesting take on basically Reed Richards' Doom. Really interesting take on Iron Man without his father having as much influence. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on, and in this issue, the first issue of this, you literally could start here. You don't have to read anything first. I'd recommend you check out Ultimate Spider-Man. I'd recommend you check out Ultimate Black Panther, but this could be the first book you check out in the Ultimate world, this new one, and I love that they're recruiting Janet and Hank Pym in this issue, and there's a new take on them and what that means. This issue is fantastic. Check it out. Ultimates #1. Next up, we've got this beast of a book. Look how giant this comic is. This is the conclusion of Krakoa. This is Uncanny X-Men 35/700. Now, that might seem complicated, but it's 35 of this volume, and it's 700 of the overall Uncanny X-Men Pantheon. So, as a collector, to me, this is issue 700. But if you're just getting into reading comics, you only need to go back 35 issues, which seems like a lot, but it's really not, to get what goes on in this story. Now, this team is insane because this is the conclusion of the giant Krakoa saga. So, writing this beast are Jerry Duggan, Kerry Gillen, and Al Ewing. On pencils, we've got Joshua Cassara, Phil Noto, Lucas Wernick, Lionel Francis Yu, Walter Simonson, Mark Brooks, John Romita Jr., Jerome Opeña, Luciano, do not know how to say that last name, Stefano Casali, Sarah Pacelli, Chris Claremont on words, I assume he didn't draw this, Salvador LaRocca, Gail Simone writing, Jed McKay writing, and Javier Garon on pencils, all of those creators in this book. And it reads as one book, but each section is a different team, and it's so dynamic, it's so interesting. It concludes Krakoa. So if you've been enjoying the Krakoa saga, it's a hell of a finale. It definitely made my top 9. I was really impressed at how well they ended, but also started new. It closed a door, it opened a window, and it's very intense, very apocalypse-heavy issue, a more action-packed issue than I was expecting, to be honest. And yeah, really impressed with how that finale went out. And it was also great to see my boy Deadpool with everybody. There he is, riding the X-Jet. And now the last of my 9 for the week of June 5th is going to be Wolverine Blood Hunt #1. Now this is within the Blood Hunt event, but it's pretty isolated. So if you just want to see a really action-packed, bloody, visceral, intense Wolverine issue where he's fighting vampires, great. It's that. If you want to understand Blood Hunt more and expand into a little dark corner of Wolverine's world, it's also that. If you want to maybe get a mini-series and don't want to commit to a full Wolverine world, this can be that. It's a 4-issue mini-series of Wolverine taking out vampires. So it was also well written. Art is gorgeous. It is a fun time. So as far as fun books go, I really love this Wolverine Blood Hunt #1. And that is going to do it for my favorite books from the first week of June. Again, let me know in the comments which of those you're going to be checking out or which you did check out. If there's any of these books you really enjoyed, these 9, please definitely let me know because I'm curious what people are loving right now. Without further ado, let's get into all that news that broke this week. First up, we have confirmation that The Boys will end with Season 5. Now, Eric Kripke apparently said otherwise to make sure it was okay with Amazon, but he has confirmed that is going to be his original intent. From the beginning, this was supposed to be a 5-season show. I'm personally very happy the show is going to go out as it intended. I hate when a show is exceptional and then it goes on too long and it sullies the legacy of the show. If this had a 5-season structure, I'm so glad that is going to end this way. Now, I can't talk about it too much, but I have seen a decent amount of Season 4, and the way things escalate, it's going to be pretty insane already by the end of Season 4. I cannot even imagine what Season 5 is going to be. So again, I'm glad you can only go so far with escalation until the characters aren't even the characters anymore, until the stakes are too high to feel like it's the show as it started. So personally, I think 5 seasons is perfect. I'm excited that Eric Kripke is sticking to his plan, and I'm really excited to see where this show goes next. And rumor has it we got writers on 2 giant properties. This is still a rumor, hasn't been confirmed, but just in case it is, I do want to talk about it. First up is the Marvel rumor. That rumor dropped first, and that is that Michael Green is going to be writing Midnight Suns. Now, this Midnight Suns movie also isn't confirmed, but it's been a very frequent rumor that Michael Giacchino will be writing basically a Supernatural Avengers movie. The Midnight Suns in the comic books deal with the occult, the dark, but the team changes a lot. It's kind of like the Defenders, where it's a rotating team. There's a lot of different members of this team. This MCU version is apparently going to feature Wong, Moon Knight, Ghost Rider, Blade, Werewolf by Night, and Man-Thing, which tracks with what we know is to come from the supernatural side of Marvel. But this Michael Green announcement is particularly exciting because this man wrote Blade Runner 2049, which is absolutely incredible. I adore that film. It's one of my favorite sci-fi films of all time, but he also wrote Logan. So this man knows how to write a deeply dark, intense, visceral comic book experience, and I think after Deadpool, we're going to start to get more R-rated comic book properties, and Midnight Suns is right there and primed and ready for it. He's also responsible for Blue-Eyed Samurai. He was the first writer brought on to that Blade reboot, which we still haven't seen. I'm wondering if he had an R-rated take before they were as sure of the R-rated nature of Blade. As of the first announcement, it was going to be a PG-13 movie. I'm wondering if his script was too dark, and then we've gone through a ton of writers since. I'll never know, most likely, but Michael Green, Blade Runner 2049, Logan, Blue-Eyed Samurai, that first Blade script, this is all very exciting. If Midnight Suns is real, it looks like this is going to be our writer. I hope there's an official announcement. I assume either SDCC in July or more likely, and I'd put my money on D23 in August. I think D23 is going to be a very Marvel-heavy experience, and I think we'll find out a lot more about this then. And finally, it would seem, again, another rumor, that Danny McBride, Jeff Bradley, and John Carciari, don't know how to say that name, but those 3 gentlemen behind Righteous Gemstones are going to be writing Booster Gold. Now, this is still a rumor, but if true, I love the idea of this. The tone of Booster Gold is so irreverent, so pop culture heavy, so insane. This seems like the team to take it on. This rumor is unsubstantiated. It is from DCU Leaks, who has been very credible in the past, but again, it's still just a rumor. DCU Leaks crushing it generally. A lot of clout behind the rumors if they share them, but I don't know how true this is yet, so I just want to be clean. I'm not sure if this is real. That said, if it is, I am very excited. Booster Gold is one of my most anticipated of the DC slate. It currently stands at like Supergirl, Superman, Lanterns, and then even if these writers aren't on it, probably Booster Gold, because I love the character. I want Billy Magnuson to play him. I think he would absolutely crush. I love the idea of someone being basically an influencer, superhero. I love the idea of kind of poking at influencers. I love the idea of the TikTokification of society getting its Deadpool, someone that is saving for clout, someone that is filming for clout, someone that it's a world we live in. I think it's a very topical hero right now, and I think it's something that we should address, and I think Booster Gold is the exact right person to do it. I'd also love to see him team up with Blue Beetle, which we are keeping our Blue Beetle. Sholo is going to be Blue Beetle again, so we've already got that set up. Personally, this is high up there on that giant DC slate. And if it is the Righteous Gemstone guys, then the comedy we know will be there. Very curious if this turns out to be true. Also, just in brief, because I already made a quick video about this, we got a ton of new Deadpool and Wolverine posters, and they're all amazing. I love that we don't have a floating head amongst them. I love that they feel like the Merc with the mouth. I love that they're exactly the tone of the movie. I think this one is my personal favorite. All of them are great. The hype in this movie is real. The marketing in this movie I knew would be amazing. I'm just so glad to see it. We are almost into Deadpool month. 2 months until Deadpool month. About 6 weeks until the movie's actually out. We're getting there. It's getting exciting. That is going to do it for the news. Let's dive into the previews. These are the comics available at your local comic book shop today, June 12th. Available today, June 12th, from DC Comics, we've got Batman and Robin number 10. I love this book. It's the paternal side of Bruce Wayne. It's Damian Wayne in high school, and like a good noir, the cases that happen outside of school tend to go into the cases at school. It's like a double-sided mystery. Very fun there. And if you've got a younger reader in the house, if you want to get some kids into comic books, then check out Batman and Robin and Howard, which hits issue 4 this week. It's a more younger-aged book. We've also got, and one I'm very excited for, Batman Gotham by by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age. If you dig Elseworlds, if you dig Gotham by Gaslight stuff, and you want to see that world expand, this is going to be going into the Superman side of things, and it's on issue 1. You can jump on right here. Elseworlds, very accessible. Don't have to have read comics before, and you can pick this one up by itself. We've also got Blue Beetle number 10, a very fun run. If you love Blue Beetle, this has been a good time and very approachable, only 10 issues in. We've got DC Pride Uncovered. This is going to be an anthology of basically collections of different DC stories and characters. Good way to discover new writers, new artists, people to follow, and new characters in one anthology book. We've got Green Lantern number 12. Been loving this Green Lantern. Really interesting stuff from Hal Jordan. A very fun, plucky Hal Jordan. Feels classic, but still modern enough to not feel like you're reading a 60s book. It's hitting a really sweet tone. We've got Mad Magazine number 38. I love that Mad Magazine is back. We've got Outsiders number 8. I'm personally not reading that one. It kind of lost me. I am, however, reading, and it's lost me and got me back, Red Hood the Hill number 5, dealing with the darker side of the vigilante, of what it's like to be in a really bad neighborhood and try to walk that line between anti-hero, vigilante, and good guy. We've also got Sinister Sons number 5, and finally from DC, Suicide Squad Dream Team number 4. There's a ton of Suicide Squad books right now, but I think that's a good thing. Over at Marvel, we've got this week Amazing Spider-Man Blood Hunt number 2. This is Spider-Man's side of that giant blood hunt event going on, this big everyone fighting vampires event at Marvel, and he's teaming up with Misty Knight and Lizard because intensity. We've also got Avengers number 15. I personally have been really loving this Jed McKay Avengers. The last arc of Avengers, like before it renumbered, I was like a little overwhelmed by it. This feels like an assembly. This feels like the team. This feels like the stakes are big enough and the writing's exceptional. Really liking this Avengers. Picking up at 15 would be tricky, but you're only 2 years behind if you want to go back. There's only like 3 trades so far. Get on this book. We've got Blood Hunt number 3. Again, this is the big summer event over at Marvel, and that, yes, is Miles Morales as a vampire in the cover. There's also a Blood Hunt Red Band edition, which is the R-rated version. It's got a couple extra pages, and each of the pages is bloodier. This allows for an R-rated version of this very R-rated event. And if you want it like more tame, pick up the regular number 3. If you want it more intense, pick up the Red Band. I think it's cool they're doing that. We've got Deadpool number 3, Cody Ziegler writing Deadpool. I'm not madly in love yet, but I'm hoping it finds me. So far, it feels very serviceable, but I'm hoping it picks me up, and I'm still picking it up. I'm just hoping it picks me up, and we find each other in this tone of Deadpool. But either way, him fighting Crossbones is going to be exciting. Deadpool and Wolverine World War III number 2. There are not as many Deadpool and Wolverine team-up comics as you expect, and this one is a mini-series where you don't need to have read anything at all. This is Joe Kelly, one of my favorite Deadpool writers. This is Adam Kubert, I think I said Andy last time, on art, and that is one of the most iconic X-Men artists of all time. It's a hell of a duo, and it is timing up right to the release of Deadpool and Wolverine, the movie coming out July 28th. We've also got Fantastic Four 21. If you pick up any book this month, I'd say probably Fantastic Four. This run has been exceptional from the jump. I love the Alex Ross covers. I love the writing. It's such smart, science-based adventure, which is what Fantastic Four is supposed to be. You feel smart reading it, but you're also in love with the adventure of it. This is such a good run. Gods number 8. It's feeling a little heavy-handed sometimes, but also the writing is so good, I don't mind. It's definitely Hickman's passion project, and at times it works. It works more than it doesn't, but when it doesn't, I'm definitely like, okay, that issue felt odd and out of place, but we'll see where this one goes. Giant Size Daredevil number 1. This is a 50th anniversary Daredevil issue. It looks to be an anthology issue, so if you want to pick up just this issue of Daredevil, it should be pretty self-explanatory if you just want a taste of Daredevil comics. The Incredible Hulk number 13. This is a very, very horror-centric take on The Incredible Hulk. Art by Nick Klein is going heavy into the murdery, horror-y, monster, Cronenbergian body horror elements. If you like that sort of thing, this is your Hulk. Check it out. Miles Morales Spider-Man number 21. I'm really digging this Miles, man. The couple issues back, he was like going to the market, checking out art. There's a friendly neighborhood element to it that I'm missing in the Amazing Spider-Man title. It's very much about Miles and his experience as Spider-Man. He has a journal. He has anxiety. In this issue, he is re-teaming up with Blade. Blade and him have met. I'm curious how that goes, because if you're reading Blood Hunt, Blade's in a spot right now. We've also got Scarlet Witch number 1, brand new number 1 for Scarlet Witch. Her last title, I had a lot of fun with. This is a new number 1. If you've never read Scarlet Witch, you can jump on this one, and it should make sense. We've also got Spider-Boy number 8. This is Dan Slott writing his new creation, Spider-Boy. We'll see. We'll see. Spider-Man Shadow of the Green Goblin number 3. This is my biggest surprise from a Spider-Man title in a very long time. I knew I would most likely like Ultimate Spider-Man. I didn't know I would adore it. This book, I wasn't even sure I was going to read. Picked it up. It is DeMatteis who wrote Kraven's Last Hunt. It is classic Spider-Man. It feels like the 80s era Spider-Man. It is weaving in and out of continuity from that time. It is such a fun, classic Spidey, and it feels so good to read that guy again. Star Wars Darth Vader number 47. We've also got Strange Academy Blood Hunt number 2, another tie into that giant event. Strange Academy is like Hogwarts, but Doctor Strange and Brother Voodoo run it. So it's the Marvel version of a magic school, and it's a blast, this tying into that giant event. Ultimate X-Men number 4. We are starting to ramp up to the team stuff. I'm very excited about it. This is written and illustrated by Peach Momoko, so it is stunning. Watercolor. Very passionate work. It's really exciting to see it ramp up to the team. We've also got X-Men Blood Hunt Jubilee. As you may know, Jubilee is a vampire. So how does she deal with Blood Hunt? We'll find out. We've also got, finally, the last book from Marvel, X-Men Heir of Apocalypse. If you're curious where things might go between X-Men 97 Season 1 and 2, I'm sure this book, dealing with Apocalypse, might have some answers for you, and I'm really excited to check it out. Over at Image Comics, the books I'm personally going to be checking out are The Deviant number 6. This book is from James Tynion IV. It has been very intense. It has been very jarring. You're following a writer studying a serial killer, and you realize they have a lot more in common than you think, and there's a lot of interesting commentary there, and it's a very intense read. Geiger number 3. Loving Geiger, man. This book is so good. The art is fantastic. I really love Jeff Johns' writing, and I really now love Gary Frank's work. I didn't realize how much Gary Frank had illustrated that I knew, but man, this guy is such a good artist. Geiger's a really cool, approachable hero, and a great jumping on point. You're only 3 issues behind. Napalm Lullaby number 4, Rick Remender writing his what is a world, not dystopian in the everything's falling apart sense, but overrun by religion and strong rule sets and what it's like to be free in a world like that. It's a really interesting commentary on society, and I'm really digging it. Plastic Death and Dolls number 1. Know nothing about it, but I will always check out a number 1 from Image. I'm also going to be checking out Rifters number 1. Brian Posehn. I love him as a writer. He's a funny stand-up, but I'm always curious about his comics. I'll be checking that one out. Something Epic number 11. I've talked about quite a bit. It is a world where imagination can become tactile, and certain people have power over these imaginations. It's all written and illustrated by one man, and it is so many different art styles. So you'll have like an anthropomorphic duck, but you'll also have these Greek styles, you also have comic style, you also have photorealistic, all in one book, and all those characters are like their style, so it all ties into the story in a really beautiful way, really digging it. And then also at Image, Chip Zdarsky's The Whisper Queen number 2. And then finally, me personally, I'm going to be checking out from Boom Studios this month, Crocodile Black number 2 and Lawful number 1. I know nothing about Lawful except for the cover's cool, and I always check out new Boom number 1s, and they have not steered me wrong yet. And finally, from Dynamite Entertainment, we've got Cruella de Vil number 4. If you've got kids at home, you want to get them into comics, Dynamite's Disney stuff has been exceptional. This is a really fun time. Also, Thundercats number 5. A lot of love for my guy, Declan Shalvey. Highly recommend that as well. And if you're into Vampirella, Vampirella 669 looks to be a promising issue in the world of Vampirella. Those are the books I'm going to be checking out from the major publishers this week, June 12th. What are you going to be reading? Leave me a comment below. Let me know which books of those you're curious about. Let me know what books from my favorites you enjoyed this week. Let me know what of those news stories you're most excited about. Do you think the Righteous Gemstone guys are writing Booster Gold? Are you excited for the writer of Blade Runner 2049 and Logan to potentially be writing Midnight Suns? What do you think of the Deadpool posters? What do you think about The Boys ending at Season 5? Your homework for the week, you lovelies, is let me know who got you into comics. Was it your dad? Was it a friend? Was it you saw a cover? Was it a movie? Did you go like, The Avengers, I like Iron Man, I'll pick up an Iron Man comic. Was it X-Men 97? Was it X-Men 92? Was it Spider-Man the 90s series? Was it Batman? How did you get into comics? I'm always super curious what the gateway into this magical world was. That is going to do it for this episode. It is really hot in my apartment. I apologize for any sweatiness. Much love to you. Please like, please subscribe. I'm growing this page. We passed 26K, which I appreciate. Want to keep it growing. Want to get the world out. So please hit that subscription bell and hit that like so this video goes out there. Algorithm stuff. Okay, much love. I'll see you guys soon.